Hello and most welcome to 1783. This will be a short one about something mentioned in the appendix of Paul Johnston's Rethinking the Inner. It's a mentioning of famous author Stephen Mulhall. And I will read directly from the book, something I haven't covered before. Stephen Mulhall's claims raise different but related issues. His basic argument is that the fact that we can see an object as something else shows we must already see it in one particular way. In his words, any particular experience of aspect dawning in making us aware that we can see a given entity as a new kind of object, thereby highlights the fact that we are already regarding it as a particular kind of object. Mulhall specifies what he means by treating aspect perception as a two-place schema, seeing A as B. Arguing that although only a certain concept can fill the second place, there's no such limitation on the first place. According to him, regarding a picture as a picture is just one example of treating an object as a particular type of object. But this argument rests on an ambiguity. In the case of the duck rabbit, experiencing the change of aspect involves switching from seeing the picture one way to seeing it the other. It shows that we see the picture in a particular way versus either as a duck or as a rabbit. It might also be said to show that we see the picture in a particular way, in the sense that our relation to the picture can be contrasted with that of the aspect blind. However, it does not show that seeing the picture as a picture is one possibility among others. There's no contrast with seeing the picture as a table, nor does it reveal that if we see pictures as pictures, we must also see tables as tables. Our relation to pictures with its specific manifestations gives content to the notion of seeing or regarding as a picture as a picture. But because of the notion of a special relation makes sense in one context, does not mean it can be generalized. To justify the concept of seeing an object as a particular type of object, that is, seeing a table as a table, some new and separate definition is required. It might be argued, however, that Mulhall does precisely this, for he emphasizes that our relation to the world is not that of an interpreter, and suggests that the immediacy of this relation is what Heidegger was trying to bring out. But the two parts of this equation are quite different. The criticism of interpretation is correct if all it means is that philosophers are wrong to claim we construct the world from sense data. Heidegger, however, has rather different objectives. His vision is a substantive one and is essentially linked to the ethical question of how we should understand the world and how we should act. These divergent sources come together in Mulhall's account of what is involved in relating to a particular object as an object of that type. From Heidegger, he borrows the idea that our primary relation to objects is in terms of their use, and applying Wittgenstein's account of aspect perception. He argues that this relation is characterized by immediacy and smoothness. He then links this with Wittgenstein's claim that irregularity and unpredictability are essential for us to recognize behavior as human, that is, as the manifestation of the inner. The readiness to hand of objects reflects the seamless, unhesitating way in which those objects are taken up into our practical activity. That is, it reflects the particular grace and smoothness of the human behavior involved, features which should be seen as defining characteristics of human practical activity per se. But this passage runs together logically distinct issues. Furthermore, against the background of the references to Heidegger, it continually threatens to transform grammatical points into empirical or substantive claims. It is true, for example, that human behavior has a particular grace and smoothness. one could surely argue that there are many types of animals that possess more grace than man. And what should we say of the clumsy? Are they less human than the rest of us? The claim that an unhesitating relation to objects is the essence of the human, and being at home in the world is the defining feature of our lives, cannot fail to be substantive rather than grammatical. One might argue, for example, that it is the unnaturalness of man, the problematic nature of his interaction with the world, that offers the better insight into the real nature of human condition. But what about Mulhall's specific claim that all perception involves aspect perception? Here it is significant that the notion of seeing as has actually been replaced by a much more general conception of relating as. For what is true of vision is implicitly seen as holding for all the senses. Despite this, the earlier points we made still apply. For what does continuously relating to a table as a table involve? And how does the presence, or indeed absence, of this aspect perception manifest itself? If, for example, we bump into a table, does this involve or imply a momentary spell of aspect blindness? In the case of pictures, the special relation of standing towards a picture in some ways as towards the object it depicts provides the basis for distinguishing between someone who knows that it is the picture of a certain object and someone who does not just know it but sees it in that way. However, with normal perception, there is no parallel contrast. The only basis for claiming that aspects are involved in all perception is either the specific empirical reactions focused on by the Gestalt psychologist or the grammatical point we noted earlier. We do use concepts to describe our perceptions, but that is a necessary feature of any perceptual report. The fact that we use object concepts undermines the claims of the sense data theorist, but does not justify a new dogmatism. It certainly does not reveal that we continuously see and relate to objects as objects of a particular type. And that ends the discussion on Stephen Mulhall. Interesting combination of Heidegger and Wittgenstein, and I think it's interesting because there is a certain human smoothness to our movements that is unpaired in the animal life, I'd say. We are not only more advanced in our complex words and concepts, there is also something with our movements. We can dance, we can sing, we can do complex, fantastic art. Here's one example. I wouldn't call it fantastic, but it's some sort of art anyway. I say thank you very much and have a very pleasant afternoon, morning, day or night, wherever you are. Bye bye for now.